So, welcome everybody. My name is Paul Upex from the Training and Development team, usually based Labour Party head office, coming to you tonight from the Labour Party, coming to you from Margate, where I live, on the sunny south coast, but a little bit cold at the moment as well. Before we get started on tonight's session, getting involved in election campaigning, we just want to take you through a few little house rules. The chat is enabled tonight, and it allows you to chat with each other and say hello. It will be monitored by my colleague Andy Taylor, who you can't hear and you can't see, but he's going to be monitoring the chat and the question and the Q&A as well. So if you've got specific questions about the session, please pop them in the Q&A. If you just want to say hello to each other and any other bits that you might have, please pop that in the Q&A as well. So also, just to say, I know that a few people who might have joined us a little bit late, just sorry for any confusion that you might have had with regards to the start time as well. So let's crack on with tonight's presentation. It will be recorded, so don't worry about that in case you miss anything. And you will be able to download a PDF of the slides as well, and that should be available probably by Wednesday this week as well. So please do look out for that. And my colleague Andy will pop those links in the chat as well as us also emailing you as well. So let's look at tonight's session, a little bit more about getting involved in election campaigning as well. So what's the session going to cover tonight? It's a little bit about why we campaign, how you can get involved, looking ahead to the 2021 elections, also having a look at what further help and resources are there for you as well. So before we get started, there's two questions that I want to ask, and this is when we can use the chat for a bit of interactivity. We want you to tell us a little bit about you. Please tell us in the chat what motivated you to join the Labour Party. And also, we've got some polling as well. This is the first time we've tried it in one of our sessions. So there's just a quick couple of questions, anonymous questions, just for a little bit of fun to find out a little bit about you as well. So I'm going to ask you to tell us a couple of quick things. So first of all, first question is to put in the chat, why did you join the Labour Party? Please put your reasons in there within that chat. And secondly, I'm also going to launch two polling questions, a little bit about how long you've been a member for, and at the moment, what stops you from campaigning for the Labour Party as well. So please do have a little look out for those. I'll leave them open, and let's have a little look at what people have been putting in the chat for some of their reasons of why they joined the Labour Party. Okay, but it hasn't come through to me just yet. There's a good one from Ben there, joined the Labour Party to do his bit towards getting a compassionate government. Thank you, Ben, and well done. Karima, hopefully you found your name. I want to learn more about policy and community issues that you wanted to resolve. That's great. Nice one there from Councillor Tony. Just want the Tories out. A lot of us share that as well. To create a fairer world from Hugh. Mary, probably a lot of people do see that. Should have done it years ago. To make a difference there from Neil. To stand for election and fight for a better future for all from Joe. Jane rejoined to make a difference, help people as possible. Always been a Labour supporter and decided to join. Dominic joined to say a better, kinder country and help in any way you can to make it happen as well. So there's a few of them have just come in. Sorry if I haven't read one out. And a good one there from Claire. I want to help create a fair and better future for my children. And Tony, last one in there for better NHS for all. So it's great there that I'm going to end the polling now. So thank you for taking part in that. It looks like just under half of you have been a member for less than a year, 44%. 24%, another quarter there, are over 1%. 9% over 2 years, 6% over 3 years, and 18% 4 or more years. And here's another question. What stops you from campaigning for the Labour Party? 26%, nothing stops them already. They already do. 43% not sure what to do, and hopefully tonight's session will help you and guide you. A big one there, 17% haven't been asked. 20% about finding the time, and it is difficult. I appreciate that. And another large one, 31%, would like further training and support. So hopefully tonight's session will allow you to sort of, we can direct you towards some of that as well. Okay. So thank you for that. And that's the first time we've tried one of this bits of polling as well. So hopefully it all worked well for everyone as well. Oops, sorry, I've just... there we go. I think one of the things there, the underlying themes from what everyone has said and some of the answers of why they joined the Labour Party. We joined to change the country. We didn't join, well, a lot of people haven't said, we didn't say that they joined the Labour Party to deliver leaflets or attend meetings on a Thursday or Friday night. That comes about being a Labour Party member. What we're trying to do, the theme there was to change things. And the way that we can change things by doing things locally, getting councillors elected, is by winning elections. And that's why getting involved and being part of that election team to the local level and anything that we might do nationally is really important to elections that are taking place this year and building further ahead to when the next general election might be in 2024 as well. So this leads us on to that next section of why do we campaign as well. Part of the things, not everyone does what they're told, but it is in the rule book. Clause 1, the party shall bring together members and supporters who share its values to develop policies, make communities stronger through collective action and support, and promote the election of Labour Party representatives at all levels of the democratic process. So that's why we talk a lot about what you can do to help us win elections. It's so we can bring about that change that we need to see in every city, every town, every country, every region, every street that we have across the country. So it's really important that we do campaign and we let people know what Labour stands for, what change that we can see, and offer that alternative as Keir and the team are doing at the moment to that Tory government that we have. But there are some other side effects and good things as well that help us from when we're campaigning. Obviously, we'll win elections, and that's a great feeling to anyone who's been involved in that election campaign, and to each of you as well, that if you're part of that team that delivers election success this year, but also the next general election, gets rid of the Tories, delivers the Labour government, that's actually such a fantastic feeling as well. But there is other things that as a byproduct of this, a really good thing as well, that actually helps people. It helps people in their local communities by, they may have whatever circumstances they might be in within their life, that actually us, whether it's a telephone call, delivering a leaflet, door knocking when we can actually do something that will help and make their life better as well. And that allows us then to improve those communities that we actually seek to represent, allows us to promote the Labour Party where it might be that we are in government already, whether it's a local government, and allows us to promote what that local council is doing. It also it is a lot of fun meeting when you can, and I know some of this presentation tonight is for the now and also for the future as well, when we can actually get out there, meet each other, go out campaigning, go out door knocking, and it is fun, it is enjoyable. We can meet like-minded people like ourselves, identify potential Labour supporters who will vote for us at the elections coming up now and in the future. We can deliver on the doorstep Labour's message to people as well through our campaigning, through our leafleting, whatever different communication vehicle that we have allows us to do that. And so we're not relying just purely on newspapers or the radio and that constraints that have as well. And also locally, if we are representing people, and I have noticed obviously as a councillor on tonight, by getting out there and campaigning and speaking to people, we can actually develop our policy platforms locally as well. Politics shouldn't be something that we just sort of say to them, this is what you're going to have, this is what should be done to you. It is actually about people telling us what's important to them, and politicians listening and responding to that as well. So allows us to then have a better interaction with voters as well. Obviously, why elections taking place this year, and I'll come on to them a little bit more later, are really important. It's a huge set of elections. Winning locally helps us win nationally. Electing Labour representatives and Labour governments will make a difference to the lives of so many people. We know that. These are the things that you told me that you care about at the beginning of this presentation of why you joined. And by electing Labour MPs to form a Labour government, we can bring about some of those changes as well. By also getting out campaigning, we can find out what people care about, why they support Labour, but also importantly, why they might have stopped voting Labour as well. And we can actually re-engage with them, ask them to take another look at us, and actually try and listen to them and find out, what stopped them from voting Labour, so it actually doesn't happen again. And that might have been a one-off bad habit that they haven't got into. They might have voted, Tory or whoever, or not voted back in 2019. But we want to make sure that the next time there's a general election, that they come back and they vote Labour. But also we need to bring other people who might have voted Conservative in the past over to the Labour Party. First-time voters as well are important people to us as well, to get that broad coalition to actually make sure that we can actually have enough people voting for us in those key seats across the country so that we can form a Labour government. Another nice little sort of grid here of how we do some different things, of different ways and means of campaigning within the Labour Party. By face-to-face conversations, obviously not at the moment, telephone conversations, leaflets and social media. We can communicate Labour's positive message, our values, our policies, and locally the work of candidates. We undertake some other work that we can do, some coffee mornings, resident surveys. We demonstrate that we're listening to voters and find out what's important to them on the ground. We also want to identify for our campaigning, as I mentioned, supporters, switchers, people who we can build a relationship with them, not just that week before polling day. We need to make sure that we're engaging in a conversation with them now about why it's important to vote Labour in the future, listening to them, have a conversation with the local councillor or candidate if you've got them. We can then target some social media with them. We can target some direct mail with them, and making sure that whenever that general election comes, or another council elections, that they actually come and vote Labour as well. So this is the bit you're asking, and I can see that. How can you get involved? And let's look at that. Before I do that, just want to have a quick look at the chat, in case I missed anything. Yeah, no, it's all great there, as well as why people have joined, been campaigning more social housing, save the NHS. Edward, I joined because I wanted to more actively support the local community as well. Let's have just a quick look, and also just have a look at the chat in case there's something coming there. Yeah, Karima has just asked for campaign and can we use Reach? And just in case, I'm going to go through this. I'll probably, I can do it now. Reach is a platform that we've developed that allows us to place political advertising on Facebook, and that could be targeted at individuals as well. So not everyone has access to Reach. Obviously, you can imagine we don't want lots of Labour Party members posting lots of Facebook adverts all over the place as well. So it's usually about 1 or 2 people per constituency Labour Party can control that Reach account that you can use to place those adverts. And if it is something that you're interested in, get in touch with your local party, find out who's responsible for it at the moment, and then offer your help if you on thoughts or expertise that you might have as well. Just having a quick look at anything. Will, as I said, that anyone who's a little bit late for the questions, because sometimes it's a bit difficult reading dialogue, can we make sure that we pop all questions in not in the chat, but in the Q&A, and I'll make sure that Andy either answers them or flags them up with me, and I can answer them as well during the session. So let's look at how you can get involved. As I've mentioned there, we have knocking on doors, making phone calls, delivering leaflets, campaigning online, community campaigns that you might be involved with, and also street stalls as well. And we'll have a little look at some of those in a little bit more detail. Knocking on doors. Sorry. In ideal times, it's something that we would do all year round. Not just election time. There's nothing worse than a voter coming up and saying, knocking on the door, asking them who they might vote for at the next general election, saying, "Oh, we only ever see you at election time." Our aim should be to campaign all year round. By doing that, by knocking on the doors, we can talk to people about what matters to them. As I've mentioned there, we can listen to them. We're not shouting at them, we're not disagreeing with them, we're just listening to them. We can identify our supporters by the targeted questions that we ask. If we have got a candidate in place, it's a good way of introducing them, letting them know whether that's a council candidate or whether it's a parliamentary candidate in the future as well. And everyone can do this within the Labour Party. You don't need to be that policy expert. It is a team effort. There will be training and support. We've got lots of training sessions on it when we do get back out there. And it might change, it might change what we can do, how many doors we knock on, or making sure that we're giving you guidance on standing back from a door when you knock on it. That will be prepared in the future. But have a look at it now, and the same basic principles of why we knock on a door still applies. And we have some other webinars in the future and some recordings as well. So have a look at those and let us know what you think. And this is what it would look like, a little bit about if you went to a door knocking session. And I think all of us want to get out of the house at the moment. So it might be when we can and it's safe, that there might be more people who are willing to go out there and do this. But when you join up and when you sign up, you'll be sent a time and a location to meet. In best practice, you should be having a briefing about the local area, some of the local issues. And you might join a team of 4 or 5 people as well. The team leader or someone who's the board runner will give you the name and address of who to speak to. You'll send you to that door. You'll have a conversation and ask some questions as well. There is a script to help you to do this. And we'll make sure that obviously that's circulated and that you can see that. Once you've that person's responded to you, you feed back to the board runner about the voter intention of people, and also make a note of other issues that they might raise as well. And then you go on to the next door as well. At the end of the session, you might go for coffee, you might go to the pub, but another way. But it's part of that team, and you might meet with other teams, and you can talk about your experiences as well as how you found that session. If you are going for the first time, make sure that people do know that. Then you can obviously the opportunity to be buddied up with someone else until you're comfortable about door knocking as well. Making phone calls, that's what we can do at the moment. The Labour Party has a lot of telephone numbers from across the country. Most of these are landlines, so there is sometimes can be that a little bit it's a legal way of how we can have these home phone numbers, but obviously we can't collect. It's difficult to collect mobile numbers, etc. But it's a phone banking tool, Dialogue, that allows members to phone canvass people across the country. All you need to activate Dialogue is a laptop and your phone. Head to dialogue.labour.org.uk. You won't be charged for any of the phone calls. Once you're on the site, once you log in, you can also watch a video and see the script, and there'll be some briefings provided as well. We also have some sessions on how to use Dialogue as well for everyone to join and to watch as well on our webinar library as well. So making sure you do have a look at those. And I think I'm just going to have a little look at the Q&A, because I did see that I thought the questions might have had something to do with Dialogue, but I didn't see. I think Will might have put that on the chat, but he hasn't put it on the Q&A yet, so we'll come back to that. Let's have a quick look and see if I can see that question there that was about. Right, I'm going to have quite a specific question. This one from Will. We're about to start phone banking in preparation for the county council elections. If we use Dialogue and someone identifies as a Labour voter, does that voter data go to any database we can access? I am not clear on this. Andy's answered that. For anyone wanting to know the answer to that, we have something called Contact Creator, which is a national database of people who are on the electoral register, and that has historical information on there. That when we might have spoken to that person last, whether it was on the doorstep or on a telephone call, we obviously are legally allowed to have it as a political party as part of our campaigning as well. So that information, when you make a phone call, you have to just type in the answers to the questions that people see, whether they're a Labour supporter, Tory supporter, and that goes into our national database as well. But that can also be accessed locally as well for local campaign work as well. Leafleting. Leaflets and letters, direct mail is another crucial way of helping us get our message across as well. And if you can deliver leaflets, obviously we can't deliver leaflets at the moment. I know in England that we can't deliver leaflets as a Labour Party, and Scotland and Wales, there's a link coming up where you can find out local information of what you can and can't do as well, because it's an ever-changing thing where we are at the moment. So please do, if you're in Scotland or in Wales, please have a look out for our guidance as well. There's lots of just difference of tiers and other things as well. So please do have a look out for that. But when we can leaflet, and I imagine we'll be able to leaflet before we can go door knocking, it's another great way to help us get our message across as well. If you can deliver some leaflets, whether it's 100 or 150 or just your street, just your block, that really can make a difference in our efforts. On average, a constituency seat, a parliamentary seat, would have around about 40 to 45,000 households, which means around about 70 to 80,000 people on average. And imagine trying to leaflet the whole of that area. And so just by helping, if you can do your 100, your 150, really does make that difference in getting our messages across as well. Obviously, our campaigning online. What I would ask you to do, there are national channels on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Please make sure that you're liking, following, sharing what we're saying on those channels, but also making sure that you can find out who your local representatives are or your local candidates are, and please help them and support them as well by liking, sharing as well with people. So this is where I've said there, the current campaign guidance. We have guidance for England, Wales and Scotland, and it's in line with the respective government's advice. So we update our guidance as quickly as possible. And there's the link there that I'm going to ask Andy to pop in the chat, that you'll be able to find out what you can do locally where you live as well. Thank you, Andy, for doing that when you do get along to that. So just before we look at some of the current campaigns that I wanted to highlight with you, let's have a quick look at some of the chat or some of the questions that have come in. David's just telling us that why, after working for 49.5 years, he didn't get a full state pension due to the new rules by the Conservatives, so joined the Labour Party to pay them back for this wrong and unjust policy. Thank you. Great. Will, I've just answered your question. Good question there from Joe that I'm going to answer. He's looking to get more involved in the party. Do you have any suggestions for networking with other supporters, especially whilst we're under these restrictions? Obviously, what we can't do is we can't just send everybody everyone's details. There's data protection issues that we have as well, Joe. And I think one of the things to get in touch with the Labour supporters is having a look on Twitter, have a look on Facebook as well, and going out there. And obviously, say people on the chat today, if anyone wanted to share their Twitter handles or say hello to each other, that's up to that. You can do that and share that with you and take it away offline after tonight's session as well. So think about that. Also, obviously, by networking with other supporters, obviously, if your local CLP or if your local branch is having online Zoom meetings, please consider going along to some of these as well. That's an opportunity to meet other like-minded and other Labour Party members from your local area as well. So have a think about that. Current campaigns we wanted to flag up with you. We have an early vote sign-up campaign. Early votes or postal votes are really, as we've seen from America last year, back in November time, early votes, postal votes are going to make a huge difference to elections this year. The government, obviously, like a lot of things, have not made a decision or have not made a U-turn. And at this present moment, elections are due to take place on the 6th of May. That's those elections that were carried over from last year. So what we're encouraging as many people as possible to do is to sign up for a postal vote by visiting labour.org.uk/early votes. There's the site there, and if you want to apply for one, there's a campaign pack there, early votes, and to apply for postal vote, visit postalvote.labour.org.uk. And please, what you can do after tonight is make sure that's not just yourself, but also family and friends and other people who you know who might possibly not vote come the 6th of May. Encourage them to all sign up for postal vote as well. You know, we know that the Tories will be doing this, and we want to make sure that we get as many of our supporters signed up as well. And there's a nice little graphic there: work from home, work out from home, or not, teach from home, but vote from home. It's nice and easy to do that. So please do consider having a look at that and sharing it with other people as well, not just yourself on that. Good question there. I've just come in there for the chat. Someone, Steph I'd heard the Lib Dems advising on TV yesterday that they are leafleting. Do I think that this will give them an advantage, Paul? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's where people are at the moment. So I think there's I think that's, I'm not sure exactly what the Lib Dems are doing as well. So have a look at that, but I'm not too sure how receptive people might be just at the moment to receiving some of that Lib Dem material as well. Philip, what can be offered to students saddled with loans? It's a good question. I'm going to actually leave that for other people to answer that in the chat as well, because I think it is difficult that we have the students as well. I know some of my own family, especially when they've been paying quite a lot of money, and it's only remote learning that they're getting as well. So not only remote learning is a good thing, but that's what we're doing tonight. But I think there's something there, a big call for the government. I think get in touch with any local representatives and find out a little bit more about that as well. Let's have a look at our other campaigns as well as we sort of dip in and out of that. Sorry, my screen's just moving this along. Sorry, 1 second. Our other campaign that was launched by Keir last week was encouraging people to be part of that campaign of Vaccinating Britain, signing up to volunteer with the NHS. Our campaign to get Let's Vaccinate Britain, or ask as well, by visiting the sites there as well. So there's two certain things that we're doing. We launched this in conjunction with the TUC and the Daily Mirror last week as well. And I think the main point is let's get Britain vaccinated, let's lead from the front, but then it's about let's rebuild this country together with the important messages that Keir was putting out last week. So please do have a look out for that if you can, and do it safely. Look out for think about considering to be an NHS volunteer as well. And one that's just come in today, the Labour Party forced an opposition day debate this evening on the plans to scrap universal credit. And that's starting at 7 p.m. tonight in about half an hour's time. There, if you want to find out a little bit more about the campaign and the packs that we might have, and some, sorry, I'm just going to just take a sip there, and have a look at some graphics that you can use digitally. Please do visit the site there, labour.org.uk, issues, campaigns, securing the economy. Let's now, as I've mentioned, those 2021 elections, let's have a little look at what is coming up. There's 5,000 council seats up for grabs. Some of them are carried over from last year. 40 police and crime commissioners, Scottish Parliament, Welsh Parliament, Metro Mayors, and Mayor of London Assembly elections. A huge amount of elections taking place on that day as well. So that's why they're really, outside of a general election, it's a huge set. And it's obviously the first ones under the leadership of Keir Starmer as well. So that's why it's so important that we do well in these elections. There's still an opportunity in some of those council seats that you can still put yourself forward to stand as well. You do need to be a member for a year, but in some areas, and when we might be struggling to get candidates, that you can think about putting yourself forward if you have been a member for less than a year, and your regional office then can make a decision if there's any extenuating circumstances as well. So please have a look out for that and visit the website that we've got at the bottom of that page as well. We have got a session next week about if you're interested in becoming a councillor, not just for this year, but in future years. We've got Steve Reid, MP, Minister for Local Government, who's going to be joining us next week if you want to join us as well for that. So please think about doing that. And some next steps that we want you to take as well. We have an e-learning platform called Achieve, achieve.labour.org.uk, where you can visit and learn lots of new things in your own time as well. These sort of sit alongside and complement the live webinars that we do. And we've got some fantastic ones coming up. We've got one tomorrow night with Angela Rayner about the importance of early voting. On Thursday, we have one with Louise Haig. You would have got an email about it last week about the Good Friday Agreement as well. So some really good sessions coming up. And as a training team, we look forward to doing face-to-face training in your local area in the future as well, when we can and when it's safe to do that as well. As I said there, if you want to find out more about our e-learning platform, visit achieve.labour.org.uk. These are 5 things that we're going to ask people to do today. Get in touch with your local party, see whether they need any help. Have you been to a meeting? Find out, go to events.labour.org.uk to find out what activity is taking place, that there might be virtual phone banks, there might be some online fundraisers, some online discussions as well. We have achieve.labour.org.uk, our e-learning platform. Visit Dialogue to make online calls. And make sure that you do put the 6th of May 2021 in your diary as polling day as well. So before I continue, let's have another quick back look at the questions that have come in and see if there's anything that I need to answer. Jane, how do I find out if my very Tory area is struggling to find candidates? Ask your CLP secretary. If they don't respond, ask your regional office. But if all else fails, email us at training@labour.org.uk and we will point you in the right direction. training@labour.org.uk. Luke, just before that, age limits on members who want to campaign, especially with phone banking, leafleting, etc. I don't think there is. Luke, from the question now, I'm going to make the presumption that you're under 18. I don't think there is, but could you just email us, Luke? And I'd like just to double check that with our safeguarding team. So if you email us at training@labour.org.uk, we will just double check that one for you if that's okay. Okay, this is good. I'm going to read this one out and ask people to pop anything in the chat if there's suggestions. There's another from Jim, who's keen to get involved in as much activity as you can, plus meet other members. But the combination of having the CLP that doesn't seem to be active and COVID has made it quite frustrating. It's sometimes difficult to know where to start, particularly someone who prefers not to use social media. Any ideas and suggestions? I think at the moment with COVID, it is quite difficult to have that face-to-face meeting with people, and that is quite difficult to do that, and I know that you prefer not to use social media at the moment, so I think it might, yeah, I think it is all we have for the moment. So I'm not, unless other people have got some other suggestions there, I'm going to just leave that one and have a think about it, Jane. Sarah, regional office for Stoke-on-Trent, not had a reply. Email us at training@labour.org.uk, and we will pass that along again, and we'll chivvy them along for you. David's one. Given the issue with school meals, should the House of Commons have the same meals as the schools do? Yes. Richard, yes, we do. It's asked, is there a contingency plan if the May elections are postponed again? Yes, we do. We always have a plan. We had a plan for the snap general election. It is something teams are working on at the moment as well. So hopefully, I think I've answered all the ones that are in there. Let's have a quick look in there. Hopefully, I haven't missed anything. Okay, just moving this along a little bit. So there's 5 things you can do today. If you want to get in touch with us, here we go. There's the training team. If you want to get in touch with the membership team or our policy team, if you want to say hello to us on Twitter, we are on there, and so is the policy team on Twitter as well. The last little bit I'm going to share with you is another poll that I had for this evening, which is basically, hopefully after tonight's session, we've come to the end of it. Those 40 minutes have flown by. We're going to basically just ask you what you might do next. Whether you might join us for another future webinar, head to Achieve for more training, apply for an early vote and remind family and friends, make calls on dialogue, or get in touch with your local party and attend an online meeting. So I popped them all on there. Have a little look. Please do take part. Answer where you can. I'm just going to move the slide along, so you should hopefully still be able to see the polls. These are some of the links that we have got about, we have a regular training bulletin. If you want to sign up to that, our election pages, our online meeting guidance, Achieve there, a bit more about how the Labour Party works. To access quite some of these pages, you might need your Labour login, which is my.labour.org.uk. Applying to be a councillor, upcoming training, and also webinar recordings as well. So there's lots of things in there. So lots of different things. And there's nearly 82% of people so nearly up to 90%. And I'm just going to sort of read these out and share them with you. So 71% of people said they will join another future webinar. That's great. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. 50% are going to head to Achieve for more training. That's brilliant. 69% we're going to apply for an early vote and remind family and friends. 45% are going to make calls on dialogue. And 74% are going to get in touch with your local party and attend an online meeting. So that's brilliant. Thank you. Hopefully some of our training has worked, and tonight's session has been useful, informative, and pointed you in the right direction. And now that is the end of tonight's session. So a big thank you to everyone. But I'm happy to spend a couple of more minutes answering any questions that might have come in. And actually, I'll have a quick look at the chat as well. Jane saying, I've avoided Twitter for years due to its inability to deal with lies and extremism, but it's going to actually give it a go. Good luck with that, Jane. I think, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm someone who sort of has a look of it to see what's going on. Follow a few people who I might know, and try and follow people in my local area, or find out who my local candidates are, or my MPs, or just type in some keywords where you're making searches as well. So yeah, have a look at that. Let's have a quick look at the chat. Hopefully you've all found it good. Thanks a lot for joining us, and thank you for the really kind comments. Okay. Anyone who's having a problem with getting the link for some of the Zoom sessions, I think it's Abos. If you just email us directly, it could just be sometimes to do go into your junk or into your spam or something. So have a look out for that. But we'll also double check from our side as well. So I just want to say, look, a big thank you to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to sign up. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. Good luck with your membership. Welcome to the Labour Party if you have only just joined within that last year or two. And maybe we haven't had a chance to say that as well. So it's really good to do these sessions. Please, if you do get in touch with other people, encourage them to sign up for them as well, and sign up for the other sessions that we've got coming up as well. So yeah, a big good night from everyone as well. Please do take care and stay safe. All right, thanks a lot, and we'll leave the chat open for an extra few minutes in case there's anyone who just wants to get in touch with each other and put their details on there. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.